Welcome to 30 Days of Awakening. This is day 18. My intuitive guidance to talk about today is do the experiment. That's the headline. Do the experiment. What do I mean by the experiment? I'm going to talk about it and then I'm going to give you an example of something that happened recently to me. Doing the experiment, what I mean by this is learning how to identify what will feel like an intuitive thought of guidance from consciousness, an intuitive thought from that awareness, how to listen for an intuitive thought coming out of that energy, out of that vibrating stillness, as opposed to a thought coming out of an egoic, emotional thing. Learning how to find the intuitive thought, listen to it, and then follow it. That's the experiment. So let me give an example. I was meditating, and I had this what felt to me like an intuitive thought that I wanted to. I had an idea of wanting to connect with some more people that this kind of wild talk I'm doing right now online. I want to find some more people that have the same kind of wild talk that I do. And I do. I have some already in my life. But I had just felt this kind of curiosity of more union, more togetherness. And so I was meditating on that. And then I just had this thought. I'd been talking with a friend about meetup.com, and there's a lot of great meetups for meditation stuff. So I just had this feeling of, maybe I'll go to a meetup. And I planned on doing it Friday, and I was planning on spending time with my friend John on Friday. And so I said, hey, let's maybe check out a meetup. And sure enough, I had this intuitive feeling that intuitive feeling that I had when I was meditating was just this thought of, it was like the thought came for me before I started to work with clients. The thought came of, why don't you just go on there and see if there's any interesting meetups around meditation or mindfulness or consciousness or something. It just was literally like It had a lightness, a kind of, that sounds like it would be fun to do. Some of the other things I had to do of the day didn't seem fun. That I thought I needed to do, which, by the way, those things that I needed to do that weren't fun in that moment, they actually became something I looked forward to doing later. So again, this is that whole listening. I was listening to, and I trusted that the universe, consciousness, awareness, God, whatever language you want, was going to give me an intuitive thought of what to do next with my day. And it would feel like do that. Because I believe that the universe wants us to play all the time. That's what I really believe. And so I had this feeling of what about that? And so I went to the computer and I looked it up. Sure enough, perfect timing. There was this Dharma meetup, this meditation meetup. And I just very clearly felt intuitively I want to go. This felt like the right place to go. And so it was at this museum. It was this art museum hangout. And I walked in. And it was great vibration. I mean, people, it was music, crystals, half people sitting around, people at, cocktail tables. It was just a really cool vibe. And I walk in, and sure enough, I get there, and I've been having a week and a half ago these intuitive feelings about this friend of mine that on Facebook we've chatted here and there. We connected 4 or 5 years ago. We were connecting on some art project stuff, and I've just had this intuitive guidance to reach out to her and just see how she's doing and connect and see, because her husband's got wonderful energy too, and I just like their vibration, and I just was having this feeling of connecting with them. Sure enough, I walk into this thing I found on Meetup, and who's sitting there? She's sitting there. She waves to me. We're like, hey! It was so serendipitous that I don't believe it's serendipitous, but that's what we say in the illusion, that she happened to be there. I happened to be thinking about her a week before. And also, there was my friend who I was with was someone that a few years ago I was intuitively thinking I wanted to introduce to her anyway, because he's a very experimental, fun artist, and I thought that their vibrations might be great because she does a lot of work with artists, And so it was like it literally was like just intuitive thought led to this thing, which led to this, you know, just wave of coincidences. I ended up running into somebody that I was wanting to see a week and a half ago, and bringing the person that I had had intuitive thoughts about them connecting. What is that, you know? So is that my an analysis of that, I don't believe I can understand what that is, and I will playfully explore trying, but up to a point when it becomes not playful anymore. That I will say, you know, does that mean then that there is such a thing as grand design? You know, I think that's what it kind of puts people into the thought process of, is that there is this force, this benevolent energy laying out a path for you, and if you just listen to it, there will be a path of candy canes and rainbows and puppy dogs and smiles for you, whatever your version of those things would be, things that make you happy, you know. So that's the idea, is this, you know, doing this experiment, listening to an intuitive thought. It leads you to connect with somebody you intuitively were thinking of connecting with them. With somebody, you know, it's like, is that actual evidence of this concept of there's something else bigger going on? Or is this just a random coincidence that is a roll of the dice, that 0.0006% chance that I would pick that one, that she would be there, that she was who I was thinking about last week, you know? Is it just that's, you know? Or did I somehow, through listening to intuitive guidance, create an experience for myself that I had already been attracting to myself? Did I create an experience that I had already been attracting to myself by visualizing connecting with her? And the long one, the intuitive thought of maybe her connecting with my friend. I don't know. So, you know what? I'm going to do the experiment. I don't have to know. I don't care. I really don't. Well, you know why? Because it's fun. It's fun to see. I'm going to listen to that intuitive thing and follow it around because it's fun. It's my movie. This is my experience. I get to do whatever I want to do. And I enjoy the possibility that when I listen to what feels like that, I think I'm going to do that. I don't know why, but I have an intuitive guidance. I'm going to continue to play with the idea that that's leading me into some other experience. I'm just going to play. So what? Maybe I'm wrong. Who cares? It sounds like fun. And I have to say, the more I do this experiment, it's very interesting. Aligning with our love and bliss, which is really what that stillness, that presence is. Aligning with that, having thoughts that go, that stay at that vibrational frequency, are obviously going to attract experiences at that same vibrational frequency. That's how this works. And we vibrate, whatever our energy is vibrating, it's like, it's looking for the universe to reciprocate it. And it has this, it defines itself by the universe reflecting it back. I had a tough day at work. What do? I call my friend Bob. I'm like, I had a tough day at work. I put that energy into him. He reflects it back to me saying, yeah, it's like reinforcing that. That's a vibrational frequency. I have a vibrational frequency of, an intuitive thought. Maybe I'm going to go to a meetup thing. I don't know. Okay. I'll do it. It feels like that's what I'll do. I'll go to this one. I feel that intuitive thing. I'll go here. Oh my God, look who's here. Intuitive, like. So, don't believe it and do it anyway. See what happens. Just see what happens. What do you have to lose? Write down any comments if you have any about experiences of finding, number one, that intuitive voice, and number two, it leading you on a path that shows coincidental experiences that just don't make sense. That I thought, I went to this restaurant and I never would have gone in there, but then I walk in and sure enough there's my friend from 15 years ago and I just felt compelled to go in. How many times has that kind of thing happened to you? And in what state of being does it happen to you? That's the thing. In what state, in what vibration do you typically have coincidences come? That's something to think about. I'm going to think about that. All right, I'm going to go right now think about that. Have a great day.